Norman Rockwell was an artist born in 1894 who was influenced by other artists of his time and many thrilling and controversial historical events that occurred during his life. This historical fiction documentary is about his paintings and his life. Yesterday morning on the subway, a ragged, homeless man was sitting next to me. After several minutes, when the car was so filled up that I had to stay where I was, the man whipped his head towards me and glared at me with his glossy white blind eyes. "Thomas Connolly, avid painter of buildings and cityscapes," he addressed me. "Tomorrow you will get lost." I looked around me at the other passengers, but no one else seemed fazed by this strange speaker. "Excuse me? Do I know you?" I asked him while examining his weary face for any recognizable feature. He seemed not to even hear me, though, and his unseeing eyes probed through me. "Tomorrow, after eating your poached egg on half a baked potato with pepper and cheddar cheese, your usual Saturday breakfast, you are going to grab your black DeWalt bag filled with your oils and brushes and proceed to leave your apartment building in New York City." I stepped back a little astonished by this unusual person, but I only ended up bumping into someone. I had to stay where I was until my stop. "You will hop down each of the 127 paint chip steps and wave to a taxi. Tomorrow you will ask the taxi driver to bring you to a part of the city you haven't been before. You will want a new view on your painting. 42nd Street, 41st Street will breathlessly float by, the glass pressed against your face. With each brick and architectural swirl, you will see a painting and feel your arms sweeping a canvas in your mind. 5th Street, 4th Street, the numbers will seem to blur into each other." The man became rigid, and a pained look developed from his wrinkles. "Suddenly, you will pass 0th Street, and just as the taxi will enter the intersection for -1st Street, a blinding, effervescent green light will smash into your face, and you will find yourself sitting in a 20th century Ford." Suddenly, I became dizzy, and I swayed with the moving subway. Green dots spotted my vision. "Before you will overcome your shock, the driver will pull over in front of an old brick apartment building and inform you that your fare is $3.54. You will stumble out of the vehicle, and shaken by your seemingly near car crash, all you will be able to figure to do is go inside the building." The subway momentarily stopped to let dozens of people off and dozens on. The cheap plastic seat next to my storyteller opened, so I quickly sat down. I wasn't sure I could stand to hear my future. "No pun intended." How do you know this?" I managed to mutter. "How do I even know it's true?" The man slowly waved his head around and closed his eyes for nearly a minute. I was breathless with anticipation. Finally, he continued the story, starting with a low rumbling and coming to a fairly normal voice. "On the musky walls, coated in vintage wallpapers, will be enthralling 30 by 20-inch oil paintings and several pencil and charcoal sketches. You will stop at each one, impressed by their beauty, strength, and realism. You will see an inspirational poster for buying war bonds. There will be a painting of a little black girl whom is a artist's interpretation of one of the entrepreneurs in Little Rock in 1957. Paintings will cover the stairwell walls. Each one is a delight to view, and in each one you will see so much character. Just as you will mumble to yourself, 'If only I could know more about this artist.' The artist himself will appear at the top of the stairs and inquire who you are and what you are doing there." "Oh, come on!" I butted in. "That's ridiculously cliché. You've got to be able to give me something better than that." He furrowed his eyebrows at me and commandingly preached, "It will happen!" Several passengers turned our direction. I ignored them, though, entranced by his story. "Upon seeing how dazed you, his mysterious visitor, is, though, the artist at the top of the stairs will invite you inside the room behind him for some tea. The delightful warm aroma inside will be quickly insignificant to you when you see the pillars and plush pillows enriching the interior. It will be as if you've stumbled into an architectural lover's paradise." I grinned at this. "The tea given to you will bring you back down to earth, though, and you will be able to have a coherent conversation with your host. You will find out the man's name is Norman Rockwell. Rockwell has an impressive art education, which you will have no difficulty believing due to the skill of the work you see. At just 14, he transferred from high school to Chase School of Art in New York City. After that, he went to the National Academy of Design, and finally to the Art Students League. When he was only 19, he became the art editor for Boy's Life. The hubbub of war influenced him in the late 19-teens, so he tried to enlist in World War I. But being 6 feet tall and 140 pounds, he was 8 pounds underweight. Rockwell will laugh as he recalls gorging on bananas, donuts, and liquids so that he could get in. He did, but was recruited as the military artist and didn't see any action. You will notice some paintings on the walls that have plaques next to them. Rockwell will tell you about N.C. Wyeth, J.C. Leyendecker, Maxfield Parrish, and Howard Pyle, 5 huge influences of his. These painters are also realist painters. The subway reached another station, and the flow of people continued around us. Suddenly it will dawn on you to ask the date. Your new friend will wrinkle his eyebrows and tilt his head as he answers with a shocking date in the 20th century. "Well, what day?" I exclaimed, eager to know more. "It will happen tomorrow. You must wait to hear," was the simple answer I got out of him. You will have to pause a moment to absorb this astonishing information. I loudly moaned at the fact that I couldn't have that moment presently. This was all so intriguing. Hold the phone. 20th century, you say? So that means Dali, Picasso, and Cézanne would still be alive, and Klimt and Monet, Duchamp, Matisse, and Pollock, and Warhol. Wow, I'm gonna have to go see these guys. Too soon, the subway reached my stop. I got up and put my hand on the man's shoulder to thank him for the story. But as I did so, my vision exploded into a blinding green, and I shot backwards from the physical and mental shock. I was caught in the tide of riders, though, and I wasn't able to see the man. People pushed me out onto the platform, and I stood there dumbfounded. The chug of the engine broke my blank stare, and I turned left and walked up the stairs. Beep, beep. It's 7 a.m. on this fine Saturday morning, and I have a yearning for poached egg on baked potato.
A girl with curly